Well, welcome back. Good morning. Ouch, jelly bean. Good morning. Happy Wednesday. The baby's over here trying to get in my lap. Jelly, give mommy a second, okay? Just like a kid. 10 minutes. 10 minutes. Good morning, Paula. Happy Wednesday to you. Happy Wednesday to everyone else. I am your girl, Tanisha. Your name is Inspiration, and this is another episode of Morning Inspiration with Friends. So I want to do this message real quick because, as you heard, I was being attacked by a 10-pound chihuahua. If y'all want him, y'all can't have him. But he wants to go outside and do his business. So we will make this message really short to the point. So I started to think about this message as I was reflecting on a comment that was left on my post a couple of weeks ago. The person keeps coming up on my timeline. So it was just like a correlation. It was just like that. Like, I think I need to talk about this. And I remember when I got my first brand deal as a nail influencer. So ignore my nails, how they look today. But I partnered with a company here in Tulsa called Kauai Nails and Spa. And they have, amazing nail techs. And I had posted on Threads and I was like, small win. And he was like, why is that a small win? A win is a win. And I was just like, you know what? He's absolutely correct, right? And one thing I think that a lot of us don't do, and I see people do it all the time, I hear my students do it, we discredit those small wins, right? We don't give those small wins the same energy that we do those big wins. We look at the big milestones as the only milestones that matter, and we ignore the ones in between. And that makes me think about like birthdays. There's some people they would celebrate the 40th, the 50th, but anywhere in between, they don't celebrate those. To them, it's not a milestone. And I remember a lady had commented, she had posted, she wanted to do something special for her husband, but it wasn't a milestone year. So she was like, I don't want to go all out. And we all encouraged her to do something. Like, no, if it's placed on your heart to do it, do it. And I always feel as though that when those moments happen, that's typically because God has placed it on your heart, because we just never know what that end is going to look like. So in that case, we should always celebrate. Every year is a milestone. Every time that we wake up, it's a win. It's something that we need to celebrate and be grateful for. So I think that's why a lot of people started to do like gratitude every morning. They will identify things that they're grateful for, and they will practice those things. And I think that's something also that we have to continue when it comes to our wins. Don't discredit what you have accomplished. You accomplished amazing things, and don't overlook that. Don't overlook the growth of it just because it's not growing at the rate, or it's not, that particular win wasn't the win that was going to take you to the next $10,000 a month, or, growing your business to where you get a new client. Just someone responding to an email is a win. And, Paula, 100%. Okay, sorry about that. Paula, you're absolutely correct. Tomorrow is not promised. So that's also why I feel like it becomes so much more important for us to celebrate and to be thankful and have the ability to even acknowledge what you have done and have accomplished. So I think that is just something that we really have to. So your small wins, they actually matter. They matter more than anyone believes, right? Because every step that we take is going to get us closer to our big win. So you can't walk around here thinking that those small wins, when you give an update and you're like, well, I didn't secure a speaking engagement, but I did get 10 people to open up my emails, and two of them at least inquired about prices. That is a win. because that's going to get you closer to your big goal, right? And so you have to really get out that mindset. And I get it, it's hard because that's what society does. If you're not paying attention to a lot of things that I'm telling you the things that we need to unlearn that society has instilled in us. They told us that the big milestones matter and the small ones don't. And we're here to tell you that is incorrect. That is actually not, that's not true. We want to celebrate all of those. We want to acknowledge those and give ourselves credit for accomplishing them. So don't think that you have not done your part, you haven't done anything major, but because you have, right? And I think that the more that we keep telling ourselves that, right? When was the last time? I was gonna put this up there later on in the conversation, but I'm gonna ask you this now. You can drop it in the chat, or you can wait until I finish. You can sit here. What's one thing that you've done recently that you deserve credit for, right? But you haven't acknowledged yet. And I think that's going to go to the second thing. The reason why many people don't celebrate those wins is because they're waiting for other people to acknowledge them instead of you acknowledging it for yourself. You have to get to that point. The same thing with anything. Before other people can tell you how great you are, you have to believe that you're great. Before anyone can tell you that you are a millionaire, you have to believe that you're a millionaire. There's a lot of things that we're not doing because we're waiting for someone else to come along and to validate us. We're waiting for someone to come along and tell us, you know what, great job. You did an amazing job. I'm so proud of you. But why aren't you proud of yourself? That's what you have to get to that point of understanding. Why aren't you proud of yourself? Because when you are proud of yourself, whether someone else acknowledges and gives you a thumbs up or a check, it doesn't matter. Because you know how many times people have come along and told me, so I'll think about when I was younger. When I was a little girl in like elementary school, my classmates didn't like me, and trust me, I didn't like them either. And they used to make fun of me, like, oh, you're fat, you know, you got, having a gap. Oh, you're missing a tooth. The kids were saying all these horrible things about me. And I was believing that. And I remember one day, I cut up my school pictures. Like my mom really doesn't have any pictures of me when I was younger because I literally cut up all our pictures, all of my pictures. And so I was like, Dad, I don't believe that I'm pretty. And so here my mom is telling me, no, you're beautiful. So she's trying to validate, and I already created the narrative in my mind. And so it took me to get to a point into a place where I believed it. So that when she told me, I could believe it even more and I can receive it. And I think that's where a lot of us, we really do not get that. Paula said, all right, Paula thinks, she said, I was proud of my 2-week cruise and working for myself so I could do it. Yes, Paula. You ain't telling me about that 2-week cruise yet. So we need the details for the next one. Bola and I said that, once you give us the details for the next cruise, we'll be there with you. But no, that's a huge accomplishment. First of all, a 2-week cruise is not a small thing. That's huge, right? Most people don't survive on 3-day cruises. So to do a 15, I think you did a 15-day cruise. To do a 15-day cruise, girl, some people will be over there going crazy, but that's a huge thing. And then to work for yourself so that you can do it. And I like that part. And you know what? I think I might talk about that on Friday. Because actually one of the other things that I do, and I do actually have a course where I help people to take their gifts and talents so that they can make extra money. And some of those people have actually gone on and started like legit side hustles and even like side businesses that they have started to run based off of those different tools. So I really love that you was able to, do that, to be able to accomplish that. So it's not a small thing. You are amazing. You rock. And that's right. Make sure you let me and Bola know. I got her number. Don't worry. I can put us in a 3-way and we can 3-way chat. Nothing crazy. But yeah. Right. So the third thing I want you to also do is I want you going back to I want you to start to practice intentional reflection. And like I said, sometimes you got to sit in that quiet space and give yourself credit and be like, all right, This is what I have accomplished. This is what I have done. Even those small things, acknowledge, those monthly wins, those weekly wins, those daily wins, drinking water every day, eating fruit, eating vegetables. I know when I was on like really at the prime of my weight loss journey, that's something I would do all the time. Especially because I struggled to eat a lot of vegetables. Fruit was never an issue. It was always the vegetables. And I still to this day believe that's most people's problem. Um, Also, when you're journaling, tracking your emotions, a lot of times we can't see the wins because we're dealing with some type of emotional trauma, something that's within us. So that's also something I want you to start taking heed to, because it does have an influence on how you are able to self-reflect. If you're super emotional, if you're having some kind of imbalance. So for like women, we go through this every month. Some of those things will impact us. So we will be out here crushing goals, and we're not seeing it because the big goal, you know. And I know that in the beginning of 2025, Inspirational Trailblazers, remember we did that. I did that session on identifying your goals for the first quarter. And I spoke about that. We have these big goals, but it's really the things that we're doing. It's either the daily routines that we're implementing and that we're changing, or it's those small goals that we are accomplishing that's going to help us to accomplish the big goal. And a lot of people have to get back into that mindset. What are the daily routines? Are you doing them? Are you accomplishing them? Are you crushing them? If you are, kudos to you. You rock. You're already getting closer to that new goal. And then what small goals have you accomplished that you need to also acknowledge? So when you're practicing this and you're reflecting, you can actually put it on paper. Like, get you a journal, right? So this is, see my Golden Girls journal. This is one of my journals. I have about 3 journals. But get you a journal, and you could do this monthly, weekly, daily, however often because again, you know what you're not doing, you know what you're not accomplishing, you know what you are not giving yourself credit for. And when you start putting that on paper, I'm telling you, you're going to start seeing huge strides in the way that you're viewing your goals and your accomplishments. A lot of people think that they're behind, but you're not behind. I guarantee a lot of people who believe that they are so far behind from everyone else, you are probably a lot further than you think you are. And you cannot, and again, we always say this, don't compare yourself to anyone. This is your journey, this is your path. The only time that I say that it's okay for you to compare is if you want to compare your journey at a different part of your life to a different part of your life. So I can look at, and even then, that's not 100% foolproof, because look at my journey from my weight loss. My weight loss journey from 2012 to 2022 was totally different from now, but I can still reflect because I can also still look at the emotional part, right? A lot of the things I had to learn a lot about emotional regulation when I was going through that, understanding where are the connections between my emotions and the things that I'm feeling and the foods that I was consuming, right? It's a lot of different things that I can still take over, even though this journey is a lot different now because I have hypothyroidism. So it's like, okay, I can still look at it. No, I can't consume all of the spinach and kale that I love because it does have an impact on my thyroid, but I take from the other things. And I feel like that's the only time that we should start comparing. Reflecting is so important. Exactly. We don't see all the wins because we expect the big ones to matter more, and they don't, right? The little ones matter too, and I think that's something that I really encourage. I follow a lot of amazing people. I think I'm gonna highlight. I'm gonna find those channels. So when we come back on Friday live, because tomorrow is Thursday, so you're gonna get a good throwback Thursday message. But I want to find some accounts that you can follow. I know one, she does like daily journaling, where I think y'all just go and she gives you the prompts and you just daily journal. Or when you come here, like I said, the prompt that I had up here before, that is a prompt. That's something that you can sit and you can start to self-reflect. So I don't want you to feel like you're alone in this process. You can also use Chat GPT. I'm contemplating. Inspirational trailblazers will probably get it first. I want to do a session where I show them how I use ChatGPT for things like that, for like journal reflection, um, ideas on, you know, things that I could be doing or things that I could be doing better. The more that you use ChatGPT, you can ask ChatGPT questions like, based off of what you know about me, what are some blind spots? What are some blind spots that I'm missing and I don't see within myself? And ChatGPT would actually like give you insight. I've been using it for a while, so it kind of knows me and it knows the brand of Miss Inspiration. So I do tend to like ask that question because it is something that I'm like, Dad, it's something that I know that I'm missing and I'm not seeing fully. And so ChatGPT will do that. So there's a lot of ways that you can do self-reflection. And it does not have to be, you paying hundreds of thousands of dollars to speak to someone. It could just simply be find a good journal, some good prompts. Right, prompts is always great, so that's why I say I'm going to try to find those accounts to share with you, so that you can also have another place to tap into. This is not all about me, right? I want to highlight some people who are doing it better than me in certain areas because, like, I can't do it all. So I can sit here and create, and I can give you journal prompts for various things, but there's some people that's like they tap into this all the time. But I just want you to get into the fact of self-reflecting, right? Yes, ChatGPT is so useful. I love ChatGPT. Especially for like these types of conversations. So many people don't like to use it, or they just don't know how to use it. And that just could be another masterclass. How to use ChatGPT. Yeah, thank you, God. Thank you. We got our first masterclass for the month of May. Yes, look out for that because I think that would be a game changer to help some people, because some people don't have the money for a therapist, and some people, I can't see my therapist every week. She doesn't have the availabilities, and I don't want to pay that. But in between, I can always go to ChatGPT and kind of have those conversations, and then sit and self reflect even further. So my whole process ends up being like 2 hours, which is to me not bad. But sometimes some people don't have that, and you can just do what works for you. That's one thing I want to say. And the last thing I just want to say is that until you finish, and when I say finish, until you leave this earth, again, I want you to remember every win does matter, right? Every win matters, small, big, they matter. And I want you to get into that space of it mattering to you, right? Don't allow yourself to get into the space of comparing yourself, comparing, other people's big wins. Their wins is their wins, and yours is gonna come. It's gonna get there a lot sooner than later, and I promise you that. But you got to stay the course. You got to stay the course. You got to keep believing, and the more that you believe in yourself, that's when it's going to just like start happening, right? So celebrate all of those wins. Drop them wins. Reflect a little bit more. Here's the prompt. It's this is going to be pinned to the comments, so you can always come back and you can do this every single day, right? Come back to the same video and you can just like a thing that you have done recently, right? And this could be next week, and you can like what I've done this, right? And let's share and continue to accomplish and grow with one another. But yeah, so I am your girl Tanisha Shanae. Let me go out here and take my baby to his walk because he's looking sad over here. But I love you guys. Have an amazing day today. Be well, be blessed, and I love you as always.